Good morning and welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy Presents our MLB DFS hitter picks for Wednesday, April 26, 2017. I am your host, Nick from CWE, on all of your favorite daily fantasy sites, and I'm here to break down my three favorite hitters tonight. And it's a good slate. I mean, it really is. This is going to be a good 12 games on Wednesday. Would have liked to see it chopped up just a little bit more. I'm not really sure if we usually get a small day slate on Wednesday or Thursday, but nonetheless was kind of hoping to see something in the middle of the day, but I can wait until tomorrow. It looks like we've probably got about, wow, this is going to be the first time this year it looks like we have a 3-game night slate tomorrow. We have about a 5-game day slate. Nonetheless, like I said, very good day of fantasy baseball action. And let's start things off tonight with someone who's one of the better tournament catchers that you're going to see around, because he's basically awful. And I know I've already instilled confidence in you with that statement, but when he has big games, he has like big games. He has the type of games that like take down tournaments. And at $2,200, I can't be talking about anyone else other than Mike Zunino. And Zunino is a guy that I've been on off and on throughout the year. Kind of shockingly has no home runs yet. And he's been playing in a pretty good portion of the Mariners games. Just looking at the statistics, the reason why I'm willing to buy in at this point is because we're seeing a case where the bat is even so slightly starting to warm up. And even if it's not the bat, I mean, he's doing enough right. So let's look at his output starting with the last 5 games. 15.4, 12.50, 6.2, 15.4. Nothing that really instills a lot of confidence, but 3 out of 5 games being at a point where he's hit 6x value or better. Something that I do want to take into consideration. Like I said, Zunino is a guy that has a ton of power, and one of these days, he's like Jared Saltalamacchia. These dudes will strike out, have horrible games, tick up a little, and then all of a sudden you look at the box score and he's got 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and he's got 2.1% ownership. I like the matchup against Daniel Norris tonight. Gets a favorable bump in stadium because, let's face it, he could pretty much travel anywhere else and the stadium's going to be better than Seattle. Do want to look at the weather. Hope we get the wind blowing out to left field. That will help a lot. But Mike Zunino, definitely a guy that I think worth a punt on the slate tonight. Really, really helps you fit some of those big bats in cores into your lineup. From there, I think I want to move over to St. Louis. And it's tough. There's literally like 3. I kept going from guy to guy to guy at shortstop. I like Gene Segura. I like Taylor Motter. Unfortunately, they play on the same team. I don't know how that ends up working out. I don't know if Motter can play outfield because it looks like Mitch Haniger will not be playing tonight. But I decided on Aledmys Diaz of the St. Louis Cardinals, 3,200, taking on Matt Latos tonight. Matt Latos is awful. There's a very good chance that St. Louis scores 10 to 12 runs in this game. Every night there's a team that we don't see. Did you see Detroit scoring 19 runs yesterday? We didn't see Detroit scoring 19 runs. Come on. We said, we're thinking to ourselves, all right, I could in my article I had Upton as kind of a one-off. Like you could run Justin Upton as a one-off power bat. Felix Hernandez is a guy who's not really the worst, but Felix didn't last too long in this game, and then it went to hell pretty quickly. So the Cardinals, I feel like this is shaping up to be the same type of situation. Eyes are going to be on teams like Arizona, who have put up 9 and double digits over the last few games. The Pirates in an excellent situation. The Cubs in an excellent situation against Tyler Glasnow. Let me talk about that real quick. Look at Tyler Glasnow's stats. They're confusing as anything I've ever seen. He's getting raked over the coals by anyone and everyone, and he has like hard hit percents of single digits. It doesn't even make sense, but that's a nickel and dime situation. With Aledmys Diaz, I just see a guy struggling a little bit at the plate, brought his price down. This is a guy who will float regularly at times this year around the 4K mark, so you do feel like you're getting a discount on him. I love the power aspect of what he brings to the game here. I think he's a guy who could be similar to like Jonathan VR last night, where you're getting him at a discount. So sure, the play hasn't been fantastic. I actually didn't see where he finished last night. He's hitting 234, but if you look at his game log going back to 415, it's 0, 0, 0, 0, 3, 15, 3, 18.7, and a pitch hit home run, 9.50. So this dude is not instilling confidence in anybody whatsoever. Matt Latos, though, he'll make sure that you get your confidence back. So I like Aledmys Diaz, hoping at a similar price point players jump to the likes of Gene Segura or Taylor Motter tonight. Finally, let's go to cores. I don't love necessarily doing this all the time, but Tyler Chatwood has some pretty freak split stats thus far this year, and you could criticize me if you want that I'm using this year's stats versus last year's stats, but we are, quickly approaching, a month into the season. I just feel that at some point you have to stop using past data because it gets really cloudy. First of all, Ryan Zimmerman is not the same hitter he was in 2016, so it seems extremely forced to try to kind of pigeonhole a guy like Zimmerman. And sure, his production can't continue at this rate, but I've said in the article a number of times, in the offseason, Ryan Zimmerman really worked with Daniel Murphy to use a lot of the StatCast data that Murphy used in 2016, where we saw his game amp up considerably. It has Zimmerman at a 371 average with 7 home runs, 18 ribbies. Like I said, Chatwood right now is pitching much worse to right-handed batters. I think this is an ideal situation to slot in guys like Zimmerman and Worth in your fantasy lineups. What do you need to say about cores? You can't say enough good things. Nationals 15 runs last night. While you can't expect 15 runs again, I do think it's a good situation. Even if you just want to use him for one-off power and move on, I think Zimmerman is in a really great spot tonight. That'll wrap it up for us. Our top 3 tournament hitters: Mike Zunino, Aledmys Diaz, Ryan Zimmerman. Thanks for joining today. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com. Sign up for our MLB mailing list. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Research and Win. And join us again tomorrow.